for their business. Really fired up for this episode of Giant TV. I got two incredible people. I've got Jay Holstine, who is an amazing Vistage Chair working with dynamic leaders, and I've got Hartmann, who is the founder of Kiingo AI, all about artificial intelligence and how businesses are using it. He talks about the brains, artificial intelligence brains he instills into businesses. You're gonna love this episode. We all get into it, get into the weeds on AI and what it means. Let's go jump in. Hi everybody, this is Paul Hitchcock. Thanks for jumping on Giant TV. Really excited for my guest today. I have Jay Holstine, who is an incredible Vistage Chair. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I have Hartmann, who's a founder of Kiingo AI, which is all about, you guessed it, artificial intelligence and how businesses are using it. And so we're going to get right into this. Love the topic. And Jay, I want to start with you talking about, tell me a little bit about your Vistage practice and who you're working with there and how AI might be coming up in your discussions there.
Absolutely. So so starting off, first part of the question, my Vistage practice, I have a chief executive group as well as a small business group. And both of them are in the mid-teens of size. Kind of per the standard Vistage protocol, we have diversified members from all kinds of different industries. But I think that just because of kind of the self-selection process of folks that I've clicked with from a personality perspective, most of my members are definitely leaning forward, looking to scale their businesses. And so AI fits in perfect because it is an amazing productivity opportunity. I think folks kind of thought, okay, the internet was a step function. What I'm seeing coming out of AI within our member groups is it feels like an even greater step function. There is just amazing productivity of, I can kind of give you some use cases. One company that had a call center that, calls would come in because it was warranty work. And then someone would manually fill in information into the CRM. And then they would kind of get back and do some scheduling afterwards. They now have almost all of that automated through AI, where they're able to work around schedules, do everything, coordinate, defects have gone down. Scheduling, where it used to be there was cycle time delays, all of that's been eliminated just by the use of AI. And then, just a great number of other examples in terms of how it's helped them in sales, how it's helped them in managing people, how it's helped them in, conflict resolution. Upload the profiles of two different people from Culture Index and ask AI, how do these people work together in a more constructive way? I mean, it just the uses. I had one member who went to the French Riviera and he had ChatGPT, plan his entire vacation, including, taking his kids to a concert and doing all kinds of fun things. And, just ChatGPT got all the schedules and everything working for him. So it was, I definitely need to jump in with both feet. I need to figure out how I can even use it as a Vistage Chair to really up my game with my members. And I feel inspired to kind of eat my own cooking here, and really, because I think this is a major step function.
Yeah, and Jay, you and I have talked a lot offline. I know you've got your thumb on the pulse of AI and having discussions about it. What are some of the industry groups of the members that you're working with?
So my background is technology. So I think I have a tilt towards technology because I had a software development company that I grew for 12 years and then had a successful exit with a private equity firm. So folks that are very attracted, I have a lot of people that are kind of in the digital space. What makes that is they're non-competing. So you can be digital in HR tech, you can be digital in finance tech, you can be digital and helping people just kind of be a platform for building apps. All those things can be done and non-competing and also very synergistic because there's a lot of similar issues that they all have. And so I think there's a strength, but kind of to round out the group, I mean, I have one that does safety consulting for the railroad industry. I have another who does fracking fluids for oil and gas. I have another one that makes flexible walls. I have another member that makes licorice, a large licorice company. So I mean, there's a lot of diversification. But I think that I have a younger group also, and I think that's also tells towards people with a lot of energy that are really just looking for ways to take their company to the next level.
Okay, so I love licorice. Is it black or red? That's always a question. What's the best?
So they're in, and you're in California, so you know the Red Vines brand.
Oh yeah, I love it. Love it. Yeah.
That's American Licorice Company. So they have that. So they have Red Vines, and they also have the Sour Patch.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's great. Well, Ross, let's jump over to you here and tell us what's going on from your vantage point with AI, how businesses are using it, and kind of what your insight here.
Yeah, so I am a Vistage speaker. I go around to different Vistage groups around the country and speak to members. And it is really all across the board. Some folks, kind of like Jay is saying, they're already totally in. They're using this to automate their processes. A lot of companies have this tied into their data so they can retrieve their data more easily. And they do see this as a competitive advantage. And it definitely is. But then some folks just have no idea. Like they've seen that ChatGPT can write poems and songs, and they're just kind of like, I don't really see any opportunity beyond that. And so when I come in and kind of show them some of the things that the technology can do and how it goes beyond just that superficial level, and they start to see how it can be used to increase employee productivity, engagement, improve customer experience, how it can start to automate workflows, it can unlock new revenue opportunities. We start going over these things and how it uses logic and automates customer support. And you can use it for sales training, and you can use it for onboarding and talent acquisition. Then their eyes kind of light up and they're like, okay, wow, this is far different than I thought it was originally.
Yeah, and when and Jay, feel free to jump in and pepper questions in here. Yeah, but Ross, so when you're meeting with businesses, I mean, I know you mentioned before, the first step is really for them to understand what AI is all about, how it applies to their own processes, and kind of look at what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And so I do work with companies to determine how can we actually use this technology for you specifically. Now, when some people hear about AI, it's almost like they've got a solution in search of a problem. Like they're just like, okay, how can AI help me? But I think the right way to look at it is what are our business problems? So where do we have pain points? Where are things not at the level of quality that we want, or where are we not able to process enough quantities? Where can we not take on enough customers, for instance? And so we can take AI and then say, okay, where in your sort of knowledge workflow can we apply AI to allow you to process more customers, more work at a higher level of quality and a higher level of satisfaction? So I work with companies to do that. Another thing we do is we put together sort of an AI opportunity and feasibility report where we say, okay, where is it feasible based on the technology that you have? Where are some of those opportunities, and how can we integrate this into your company?
So maybe elaborate on that feasibility report. How do you get the information that you put into that report?
Yeah, so typically we do an on-site essentially. So we go out physically to their company, or we do a virtual one, and we'll go there and sort of do a brain dump. So we'll speak to the strategic, leaders in the company who can tell us what's the goal and what's the vision and the direction of the company. But then also people who are more on the tactical level, who are actually on the spreadsheets all day, moving things from here to there. And we go over the operations essentially. So let's learn about what you do, and let's try to find areas where there's room for improvement, or there's room for AI to integrate into that. So that's the gist.
That's fantastic, because that is, especially for the folks that are starting the journey, that initial audit, that awareness is really valuable. The other thing we did in our group is it's come back where we've started a little competition of show and tell. And so, the first speaker kind of came in and they really kind of explained, let's say, 4 different technologies that you could use. But it wasn't it wasn't as applied. And so now what they'll do is they'll come back and say, okay, look, here's how I applied it. Here's how long this used to take me. Here's what I do now. And then the next meeting, I give it 15 minutes for somebody else to do a show and tell. And I really think that kind of camaraderie of showing, as well as the little bit of a competition that goes into it, has really helped kind of spark and take things off.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, when you do start, like you're saying, you start sharing ideas between members, and I like the competition idea. I hadn't considered that, but I think that's great. But somebody today, this morning, was just saying, wow, so we could, transcribe our calls, essentially our sales calls, and then have the AI sort of analyze that and give us suggestions based on, the Sandler sales system or the Dale Carnegie sales system or whatever it is, and start to offer training to our agents. And yeah, absolutely. There's so much possibility. It's honestly a little mind-boggling. I think you said, like, it's a huge step function.
I haven't done this, but one of the things that I've thought about is to record my one-to-ones, and then have a transcript made of the one-to-one, upload that. And the biggest value for me, if I were to do it, is I would put in markers for accountability, say, hey, Bryce said he was going to do this by this date, or wants me to check up the end of Q3 in terms of how he's doing on that. And I forget, I'm human. I got, too much information spread in too many different places. But before each one-to-one, I could come back and say, okay, what are all the things I marked that I want to remember, or I want to provide Bryce some accountability on, or something like that. Boom. And it would help keep me organized. That would be, a hell of a virtual assistant. And, it's right there. It just has to be done.
Yeah. And the amazing thing is that it is relatively trivial to implement something like that. Yeah, right. And then, like you said, you can get the summaries, you can get the action items, and then taking it beyond that, you could even fine tune a model based on your one-to-ones, so that you could create sort of a virtual Jay that could offer suggestions and advice.
And I think that could be true, certainly, but I think and I think if you just did standard executive coaching one-to-one, I'm confident that if there's not already an app for that, there will be an app for that. But I think the thing that with my members that I think they really have selected toward is just because of the breadth of the experience of having been a Big Four consultant, having run a manufacturing operation, a software development company, that enables where I'm able to kind of ask some of the right questions and smell out where maybe I got back a fluffy answer, and maybe I need to ask a couple drill down questions to get into what's there. Also, just looking for those answers that have some heat coming back. If somebody shares and says, that makes me frustrated, or this, or just I'm really disappointed about this or that. There's just that kind of experience to know that there's more that needs to be uncovered.
And you're 100% right. Yeah, I don't want to say that,
no worries. I didn't. I'm not feeling threatened. But anyway,
But you're right. The relationship jobs are honestly the last thing, and AI is certainly not at the point where it can analyze, like you said, that deeper level with that level of experience. It doesn't have that. It would be more like just being able to talk in your style of voice, which is, pros and cons of that. But it's interesting. I think your idea of kind of transcribing the one-to-ones, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I love that.
It is. I haven't done it. And part of the reason I haven't done it is I just don't, I'd have to run it by the members and see what their comfort is, because obviously there's different security levels, and I am not on a super secure level of ChatGPT. I have a prospect. So this is not a member of my group, but he owns a retained search firm, and he has gone all in. So he has his own private server, everything he's loaded up. all of his resumes, all of his cover letters, everything he's done, let's say in the last 20 or 30 years of his business. Wow. Now this thing can write any cover letter in his voice. It can do, and I mean, the productivity he's generated in his firm is insane. But for him, he spent the $50,000 or whatever it costs to get this done in a complete private way, just so that no one would ever have a fear of any of this information ever getting out.
Yeah, and Ross, you've talked about that before. The privacy, security of this. It is a thing.
Yeah, and that's one of the primary things that our company does. So we work on giving companies AI brains, where we connect the AI to their data in a secure way. And there are different levels of security, obviously. So one way is just to go over the API, and essentially we can make it so that OpenAI doesn't, through the API, they don't train on any of your data. We keep the index data secure in a cloud environment in Azure. So, Microsoft obviously prioritizes security there. A secondary thing that you can do is actually deploy this onto your Azure infrastructure if you're using the OpenAI models. And that's a next level of security. Something even more beyond that is deploying open source models. Now, those aren't as sophisticated as something like GPT-4, but you have complete control over it, essentially. And then even further still, you can deploy it on premises on a server that you control physically. And that's something else entirely. But there are different kind of graduated levels of security.
Absolutely. So anyway, I am at one of the lower levels, so that's one of the reasons I've not recorded or done anything. If this idea has some legs, then I would make the investment to get an appropriate level of security.
Yeah, well, funny enough, that Ross and I are putting together a presentation for Vistage Chairs on how they can use AI. So look for that. That's coming out, and as we kind of hit up against time here. One thing I did want to mention, Jay and Ross, get your input. But Ross, you talk about having a champion at a company, a champion for AI. Otherwise, it's going to languish and sit around. So talk about that a little bit. And then, Jay, do you see that with your members where there is somebody at the company now who's handling AI?
Yeah. So just very briefly, I do recommend that companies have sort of like an AI champion, just someone who's going to make sure that AI as an initiative is not dropped, because it's an incredibly important thing for your long-term competitive success, but it doesn't necessarily feel as urgent as some of the hair on fire things that happen in the office on a day-to-day. And so that's why it's important to make sure that somebody's going to keep it moving forward.
Well, that's a very good idea. And with my members, I don't know if anybody has that person other than themselves. The impression that I have right now is it is the champion in most of my member businesses tends to be the CEO themselves. I think they're very engaged. They're trying to work on their businesses as opposed to working in their business. And so, they're looking at, how can I get automation? What can I kind of figure out template wise? What metrics can I put in place? How can I get this efficiency? And then I will, get this going throughout the organization. But having, just like if you have a software product that you need somebody at that mid or lower level to be the champion, I can see how that's definitely the case. With my members that I have today, I think they all are drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't have anybody that, I think doesn't see this as a game changer. And especially now that we kind of have this little, 15-minute demo competition every meeting. So I think that has really, really gotten it into the DNA of the group. So it's good. And I think obviously firms like yourself, that's a new space. A lot of people don't know what they don't know. And so I think it's nice to be able to hire someone like your firm to come in and really provide a solution. They know they have a problem, they know they have a need. And the fact that you can kind of take care of everything for them to get that solution is really valuable.
Yeah, no, listen, this is great content. I know we could talk forever about it. There's so much going on. And I want to tell everybody that's listening, wherever you're watching this, because we live stream this episode everywhere, you can get in contact with Jay and Ross. Their contact information is around this. I suggest highly you connect with them. get involved in what they're doing. A lot of great stuff. Jay, Ross, awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you both being on.
Ross, very nice to meet you. And Paul, thank you as always. So take care.
I'll be looking for that red licorice in the mail, Jay.
It may be coming. Okay, good. All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.